cards. Phishing and spoofing is a legitimate threat and definitely something that should not be overlooked by any means. Another kind of threat is called malware. Commonly, a computer user can be tricked or forced into downloading software onto a computer that is of a malicious intent. Such programs are known as malware and come in many forms: viruses, Trojan horses, spyware, worms. Malicious software is sometimes used to form botnets too. Botnets can be designed by programmers and used to take down multiple networks, and just are, once they get started, they really just snowball and can be absolutely detrimental to a network if a botnet is formed. A common form of malware, which most people have heard of, are viruses. Viruses are programs that can replicate their structures or effects by infecting other files or structures on a computer. The common use of a virus is to take over a computer to steal data. Known computer viruses grew by 28,327 in 2004 to bring the number of old and new viruses to over 112,000, and that is according to IBM. Another form of malware is known as a Trojan horse, commonly known as a Trojan. It's a general term for malicious software that pretends to be harmless so that the user willingly allows it to be downloaded onto their computer. So it's, aimed at tricking the user, thinking that, yes, this is definitely, safe for me to download, software that I need on my computer, and then it's actually not harmless and ends up being a virus that can crash your computer. According to a 2006 FBI computer crime study, malicious software programs comprise the largest number of cyber attacks reported, which resulted in an average loss of $69,125 per incident. That's a lot of money per incident, and that's just an average cost, so it's definitely important to make sure you're taking proactive approaches to make sure that you're protected from malware. Malicious software and computer programs secretly installed on your business's computer can either cause internal damage to a computer network, like deleting critical files, or can be used to steal passwords or unlock security software in place so a hacker can steal customer or employee information. It can be detrimental. You definitely don't want to have your system vulnerable to these things, and you want to make sure that that data and that your client's information is protected. I don't know if anybody remembers the scam with Sony, but they got a lot of their clients' credit card information stolen from a hacker. I'm sure that they were taking the steps to make sure their network isn't vulnerable, but that is a large corporation who definitely spends money on protecting their network, and they were still penetrated. So it's important to make sure that you are protecting your business and you're taking at least simple steps to get a simple plan in place, so you're able to make sure that everything is protected. Let's see here. With the development of social media platforms and other popular sites, new vulnerabilities have emerged. Microsoft's 2011 Security Intelligence Report found that from the beginning of 2010 to the end of the year, phishing attacks based on social networks increased by 1,200%, which is just a huge increase. The most common threat occurring involves a combination of phishing and the use of abbreviated URLs. The use of abbreviated URLs, which are commonly used to shorten complicated web addresses, or when space is at a premium, like when you're using a platform like Twitter, which only allows 140 characters per post. That's the key. They then use these abbreviated URLs to mask a web address that someone may question if it were actually, fully written out. And abbreviated URLs, like I mentioned, are used all the time on Twitter, and a lot of the time on Facebook too. So it's definitely easy to fall for these, click on these abbreviated URLs that if you were to see the entire address, you would, know that this is a web address that, you don't need to be visiting. During 2010, cybercriminals flocked to social networking sites and were able to compromise the accounts of a diverse range of international businesses, both large corporations and small to medium-sized businesses. So they weren't just aiming for those large corporations, definitely were targeting the smaller guys too. They would then use these compromised accounts to post a message to thousands and sometimes actually millions of followers at once that included an abbreviated URL to a malicious site. From there, the cybercriminals can launch any number of attacks, including downloading spyware or adware or tricking users into freely giving up personal information. I know I personally see it all the time on Facebook especially. You'll see that somebody's account certainly got hacked because all of a sudden there's, posts for a free iPad and to click on, this link to give up your information. So it's important to make sure that you're aware that you really don't be falling for these, even though it may look like your friend posted this on your wall. Make sure to, contact that person directly and just make sure that they're aware that their, information, that their account has been hacked. And also, if they do have a free iPad, that's great, but most likely it's going to be, one of these phishing scams just aimed at getting you to give up your personal information. Mobile internet security uses the same methods of encryption, hashing, digital certificates, and digital signatures that SSL provides for the terrestrial internet. However, instead of SSL, the mobile internet is served by a streamlined protocol called Wireless Transport Layer Security, which is WTLS for short. It's extremely important to protect your mobile phone and the information on it, something that should not be overlooked but commonly is. A really simple step that you can take to, make sure that at least your phone's protected to a certain extent is putting a password on your phone and a PIN on your SIM card. Don't rely on the default factory settings. Using a password and a PIN will stop thieves from getting access to your phone or using the SIM in another phone to make calls. So, if you don't have unlimited, and even if you do have unlimited minutes, you want to make sure that somebody's not able to hack in, use your SIM, and, rack up all of your minutes or even just be using your phone for free without your knowledge. All phones have security settings, so you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with them and turn them on and make sure that you are protecting yourself. And like I said, put a password on your phone and a PIN on your SIM card. Those are just, simple steps that you can take to make sure that you are protecting yourself. Now let's touch on some myths about internet security. Myth: small businesses are less vulnerable to web-based attacks. Reality: of the data breaches investigated by the U.S. Secret Service and Verizon Communications Forensic Analysis Unit, 63% of attacks were at companies with 100 employees or fewer. Because security is becoming tighter than ever at larger firms, small businesses look more and more tempting to hackers. They're easier to penetrate, and a lot of the people, as I mentioned before, don't take the proper steps to make sure that their network is protected because the budget and focus goes elsewhere. Consumers and businesses are quickly adopting and implementing wireless internet networks, and we all know, wireless networks are really, really great, and they provide businesses with an opportunity to streamline their networks and build out a network with very little, infrastructure or wire. But there are security risks businesses need to address while using wireless internet networks, and this is commonly overlooked. And most people are on wireless now, and you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself because hackers can gain entry to business computers through an open wireless network, and as a result, could possibly steal customer information and even proprietary information. It is unfortunate that many businesses don't take those necessary measures to secure their wireless networks when they really, really, really should. And, just doing this is one simple step you can take to make sure that your network does not get maliciously penetrated. According to a 2005 Symantec and Small Business Technology Institute study, 60% of small businesses have open wireless networks, making it incredibly easy for hackers to penetrate. Not properly securing a wireless network is essentially like leaving your business's door wide open at night. You're just really, really leaving it open and tempting for a hacker to access the information and do what they will with it. Another myth about internet security: my employees or myself would never fall for a phishing scam. Employees are a company's greatest security risk. The results of a phishing experiment conducted by KnowBe4, which provides web-based internet security training to businesses, found that employees at 43% of companies clicked the link in a simulated phishing email sent from a reputable and trusted server. Even when the email was sent from an unknown and untrusted server, 15% of organizations still had one or more employees who clicked. Sometimes even the most savvy people on the internet can fall for a phishing scam. It's really not smart to rely on your employees never falling for these. Assume that everyone at one point can be had, and if that person being had happens to be one of your employees, really the damage to your business can be detrimental. It is not safe to assume that nobody's going to fall for it or that everybody's too smart. The hackers are getting smarter, they're getting more savvy, and they're learning what they need to do to keep their scams up and to get this personal information. They're getting more intricate with their scams. So you want to make sure that you're educating your employees and not assuming that they're just gonna never fall for it. You want to make sure that awareness is huge and that you're communicating with them that what the adverse effects would be if they did happen to click a malicious link. The longer term concern is that while many of us think that we are too savvy for online scams, the research demonstrates otherwise. Scams and phishing are not always blatantly obvious. There can be phishing emails sent out that really do look genuine. They really do look like it's coming from your bank. And when you click on the link, the website design was made to look like it was on your bank. For example, the term spear phishing describes any highly targeted phishing attack.